right, maybe the most inevitable, funniest, grimmest revelation of the entire day was that coming in 2024-25, it's Rocky 3 behind the bench. That's right. If you love the first two, the third one's going to knock you out of your socks. Rocky Thompson will be back coaching not only the forwards, but that abysmal power play, and playing the roles of Mr. T and Hulk Hogan. Hopefully, get a little franchise juice in here. Will be Danny Heatley and Patrick Sharp. How can they possibly justify this, Charlie?
Well, they sure are.
Okay, and
I don't know what to tell you.
I know you didn't make the decision, Charlie. I'm just like, they are like by 3% the worst power play over the last 3 years, or over the last 2 years. They finished with an abysmal, 12.3 this year. I mean, I guess it can't get worse.
Well, don't challenge them. I mean,
how can you possibly allow this to happen?
So here's what really frustrated me about that. And I'm of the opinion personally that I didn't want Rocky Thompson to be fired. I just didn't want him coaching the power play anymore. I thought they should bring someone in to do that, as whether it's a consultant or whether it's an actual straight up power play coach. Bring someone in to take those duties from him. That is not going to happen. To give you the information, both John Tortorella and Danny Briere confirmed that Rocky Thompson's going to be back, and that what they are instead going to do is they are going to use like a collaboration where they're going to use Danny Heatley, who's a scout, obviously a formerly really good player in the NHL level. Patrick Sharp, another really good player. I mentioned John LeClaire, obviously a power play stud, just a goal-scoring stud in general. And I think Tortorella even mentioned Danny Briere. Like, oh, Danny was great on the power play too. So we're going to make this like a collaborative environment to try to fix the power play rather than actually take Rocky Thompson's job away. The thing that really bothered me, and I was doing all the transcribing of Danny's interview in the like hour and a half after the interviews ended. So I want to find this quote because Danny was pushed on the power play stuff. And I just feel like they are, the best way to put it is their expectations are so low that they are allowing for this to continue. Here we go. I'm not saying we're going to go from around 12%. We're not going to go and double that and get to around 25%. We have to be realistic here. It's going to be small steps. And basically what he said is that the power play is going to get better because the guys here are going to get better, but it's going to take time. Here's the thing, though. Like, let's say a small step is getting to 17%, 18%. It's a 5 percentage point increase. That is still 23rd, 24th, 25th best in the league.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the idea of, well, we're not going to jump up to 25%. Like, yeah, you're not going to jump up because 25% will put them fifth in the league. I get that. But by the same token, they have to go 3 percentage points better to just catch 31st.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like a small step. They could be measurably better. They could still be the worst in the league.
Yes.
Like, I just don't think they have, it doesn't seem like they grasp just how big of a problem this is in terms of helping them win games. And I think part of it is they do believe that the problem is the talent more than anything else. That's got to be the reason. But as we've pointed out on the show multiple times, it's really hard to accept that when you've got San Jose Sharks, the team with
they're
one,
20.
and they're in
21.
They're at 20.2. They rank 21st in the league. Like, I don't care that the Flyers don't have that much high-end talent, and I agree they don't. We've been talking about it all year. But they have more talent than the Sharks. They really do.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they can't be at least in the high teens. And the fact that the plan seems to be like, well, we're going to bring in guys already in the organization to talk more to Rocky about this stuff. Like, to me, that's an unacceptable solution. But I guess it's a solution they're trying.
My problem with it, I picked an arbitrary endpoint just when I knew they were bad, because they were bad all year, obviously. Start of the year till Christmas, they're like 10.3, 10 point. Right. They're in the 10s.
Yeah, it was real bad. Even worse than that.
All of the guys that you named, that they named, Danny Briere, Patrick Sharp, Danny Heatley, John LeClaire, they all worked in the organization at that time. Why were they? I know you, again, are not the coach. Like, couldn't you have consulted them at some point when you were halfway through, maybe a third of the way through your third consecutive season, having the worst power play in the league? Couldn't you have consulted these guys at Christmas?
I guess.
Over Christmas break?
I guess.
I mean, I guess that's when they were over it. They were getting ready to go to World Juniors to cut ties with Cutter Gauthier. I mean, like, what? I'm just baffled by the thinking here. This is one of the things that you can't possibly think this plan is good. There's no way anyone sitting there is like, oh yeah, our power play is going to be better next year. Like, I guess if Jamie Drysdale and Morgan Frost and Tyson Forster and Owen Tippett and these guys are all take steps, if Sean Couturier can be more of a power forward around the net, like, okay, all these things are possible, I guess. But, like, so we're not probably going to go and get any really good players, and we're not going to change the coach, and we expect something to improve.
Yeah, that is pretty much what it is, truthfully. It is, because I mean that's where you get into the problem where, you know, Jonesy said on the Anthony Gargano show, I think that was earlier this week.
I believe I think it was like Monday.
It feels like a month ago. This week has been crazy. But I believe he said on that show that, like, yeah, we might look into like a power play quarterback or something. And I think I don't think that's something to just dismiss out of hand, because I do think there's value, as I said yesterday, in improving the power play so you get a better understanding of what the offensive scoring ceilings are of some of these young guys that you're going to need to make decisions on, and you're going to need to figure out just how good they are. I think there's value in that. The problem is that power play guys don't come cheap, whether it's in free agent dollars or whether it's in trade assets. Like, those guys, it's not like you're going to be able to fix the power play the same way you fix the penalty kill, which in part was because Bradshaw's a really good penalty kill coach, to be sure. But it's also in part because, like, they went out and they got Ryan Poehling and Garnet Hathaway. You know, there were additions they made to make that unit better, and it worked really well, and good job. But, like, you're not going to be able to go out and get a power play equivalent to Poehling and Hathaway, because Poehling you were able to sign for essentially nothing. Hathaway you were able to sign for, like, I guess, okay money for a fourth liner. If you want to get a power play quarter, like if you want to go out and you want to sign Shane Gostisbehere or Tyson Barrie or trade for a skilled forward to slap on one of the off walls, like, that's gonna cost $4 million a year, like, in terms of cap for a free agent, and in terms of trade assets, it's probably going to cost you like a second or third round pick.
It's something they don't want to give up.
And they made it clear, and that's probably going to be the main theme of the article I'm going to write later tonight, is that they made it clear the rebuild is still on, that this does not change their view that we are still a rebuilding team. But if you're still a rebuilding team, you're probably not going to want to give up the assets, whether in cap space or actual assets, to fix the power play from the outside. So if you're not going to do that, and you're not going to change the coach, all that's left really is the players further developing. And my concern is that I don't know how much more development they can do under this power play coach.
That's like, if you need those guys to develop, like, I don't want to take away from the work he's done with the forwards.
Yeah, I think he's been fine with the forwards on the whole.
Like, I think if they want to keep him on in that role, as you've said, like, that's fine. It's just like, if you want to develop the skill set of this specific thing, I don't see how you can do that when the guy's been here for 2 years and they've been the worst in the league for two. Like, it's all the same guys.
Yeah.
I know. We're just talking in circles. It's just a very frustrating line of thinking, and that's not going to end.
We all silly like the mayor.